Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to this second video of our series to how to make your very own customized avatar for VRchat. On our last video, we went over and covered the basics of Maya, how to use the software, just getting familiar with it. We learned how to move the camera, we learned how to create a few basic shapes, and how to move those shapes around in the scene. So today it's starting to get a bit more exciting. We're going to go on to how to start building our very own character for VRchat. Give him some shape, give him some dynamics, and also we're going to get to the stage of making his own rig too, which isn't actually as hard as it sounds. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and we'll go back to our Maya scene here, and we're going to pop it open. Cool. So we left off our last scene. We finished off making a pyramid and a sphere on top of the pyramid with a cube balancing on top of that sphere. And you guys did great with that. I'm sure you guys probably got the hang of it by now. If not, you can always watch the video again and just get familiarized with the tools that we use to get accomplish this. But for today, we're going to move on to how to create our character. Give him the right proportions, the right shapes, and get his rig in the right state for it to be used in Unity later for when we want to get it into the game. So I mean, for now we no longer need these shapes, so you can just drag over them and hit the delete key on your keyboard, and now we have a fresh scene once again. I'm gonna go ahead and press the Alt and B key to change my background. I like this the brighter background for my own personal preference, but it's all up to you guys, whatever you want. I just like this sort of layout. So what are we going to do today? We're going to cover how to import a default rig from Maya using the human IK system that already comes with Maya. This is going to allow us to just have a rig ready to go, something that's able to be used in VRchat. Secondly, we're going to give that rig some flesh, and that means we're just going to use those primitive shapes that we were using in our previous video and use all of our skills that we learned on that past video of how to move the things in place. And then I think once we get the flesh laid out, I'll end the video there, and then we'll talk separately in the next video about how to put the bones and glue them to the flesh that we'll make today. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to this top tab here. We have curves, surfaces, poly modeling, sculpting, and rigging. We want to click on this rigging tab here. Go ahead and click on that. And we are also going to be looking for this one here. It has a man with, it kind of looks like he's got 5 squares, one on his chest, one on each hand, and one on each foot. So go ahead and click on this one. It's called the Human IK, the Human IK rig. I'm just going to pull it up here. I've got it on the side here ready to go. Once you click on that, you should get a grid like that. You might have it on the right hand side. So pretty simple for this one. We have a few things to click from. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the Create Skeleton, and that's going to give us the Maya's default skeleton. We need to change 2 things on this. One, it's too big for my liking, so I'm just going to shrink this down by going to the character scale menu here, and I'm going to go 0.1, and it only goes to 0.1, so I need to do it about 3 or 4 times, so it's down to the grid size, because I just personally like working from the size here. I might do it one more time here. I'll undo that one. I think I like it at this size. This might be fine for what I'm looking for. Alright, cool. And we also need to change one other thing just for the VRchat's the gaming engine. They don't need all of these spine joints. You'll see here all of these lines here represent one bone for the character. We only actually need 2 spine joints. So just under that character scale, you can go ahead and change that 3 to 2, and you'll see it just changes for you right there. Alright, and we no longer need this menu. You can just close that out. That's perfect, and we are ready to go. So let me explain what this rig is, or like if this is the first time seeing it, no need to be worried. This is fine, perfectly normal. It just is pretty much a skeleton system. If you think about it as a human skeleton, all you're looking at is like the foot bones, and then the what do you call this, like the lower leg bones and the femur and the hip bones and so on and so forth, and they're all gonna be used later on when we need to get the character moving. We're gonna stick these bones to the flesh that we're gonna make today. So what we're gonna do here today is we're just gonna have a very basic character just for our first character. I'm gonna be making more videos later in the future on maybe a more advanced course. If you guys get finished with this beginner course, then we can always go on to like a more difficult course and we'll talk about how to make it more aesthetically pleasing. But today we're just gonna go ahead and use these basic shapes that we used before. So for our first mission today, you may see these spherical bones. These are actually like the joints. What we want to do here is I'm gonna start popping and placing just small little spheres onto the actual character's joints here. So you can either manually move these into place and try and eyeball it and get it as close as you can, but you can see here, even with trying and using as much effort as I couldn't quite get it in the right place. So I have a trick for that. Say we have our move tool selected, which is the W key, or this icon on the left hand side here, and you'll see we have a square box, or like a square in the middle of the in the sphere. This allows us to move it anywhere on X, Y, and Z axis. If we hold down the V key on our keyboard, it changes to a circle, and this allows us to snap it to the vertice places, or at this time we only have these joints, so it's only snapping to the joints, as you can see here. So what you can do there, just go through the skeleton. You can press Control D to duplicate, or you can make a new sphere, up to you. And then just, you'll see now I have two spheres. I'm just going to do the same thing with the W key or the move key selected. Go ahead and hold down the V key, get the circle in the middle, click on the circle, and find your next joint. There we go. So go on, I'll let you guys work through this. Control D, hold the V key, move this up to the next joint, and you guys go ahead and work through getting one on each of these joints, and we'll just go through like that for now. Here we go. So alright, so you might be noticing sometimes you're trying to click on to the sphere, but you're only getting the bone underneath the sphere. And why is that? The way the hierarchy works in Maya is if you have a bone underneath a polygon or a shape, it's going to select the bone first. I think it's because it's more important. You can click off just to the side of the bone and get the sphere, but what you can also do is deselect the bone selection tool. Up here on this top panel we have a few different things to select from. You can see this one says select joints and objects. If you just uncheck that, now we can no longer click the joints. So now we can just freely go ahead and click on these and finish off our Control D, V, and move these across to the other side. Alright, cool. So congratulations guys, you might have finished up your joints as it is on mine, like kind of similar to this. So now our next step, or our next mission, is we need to give the character some sort of flesh or something to represent the body mass of the character. So we have our joints in place. What I want us to do now is add some a shape. I'm going to use a cube for mine. Feel free to use whatever you want, but a cube just kind of seems to be easiest for me. And add a cube or a rectangle kind of between the joints that you've just made before. So kind of like what I'm doing here, as I can see my two joints, I'm just going to put a rectangle in the middle like so, and I'm going to use the scale tool to kind of like stretch it down and just put it over the flesh there. So that kind of does enough for me. You can make it bigger or smaller depending on what you're looking for or the style you're doing, but for me this is fine. This is all I'm really after for today. I'm just going to duplicate my rectangle, and I'm going to go through my skeleton just as I was doing before with the spheres. I'm just going to go through and flesh out my character. So if you guys hopefully comfortable doing that, I'm just going to go through like so, duplicate, move it, and put it between each one of my joints that I've made, and that kind of just gives my character some sort of flesh or something to have a style to. I might even do something special here on the belly. I might stretch it out so it's between the joints there, but I also might stretch it out to give it a bit more character, and maybe even angle it to give it sort of like a belly look. And you can do the same for the chest here. Just maybe angle it back, and I'll stretch it out, and maybe even widen it out too, so it covers those 3 joints all at once. So go ahead, I'll let you guys work away at that, and then I'll come post up with you in a bit. No worries at the moment about doing the hands, we'll attack that together. Alright, cool. Alright, here's just a quick tip for you guys. If you guys are stuck, you might be on one leg and you're going to do the other leg, you can always duplicate 2 at once and move it across. Just a quick tip there. And that just about does it for my one. I've just finished up mine. Hopefully you guys are keeping up and you're not getting stuck too far behind. So I've got my character and my body all in place. Now we have 2 more things to do. We have the head and the hands. So I think first we're going to attack the hands together. Get these all sorted. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cheat my way through the hands just for this character. And a later character you can always spend more time on the hands and do each finger. But what I'm looking for today is I'm just going to do 1 cube for the palm, like so. And I'll shorten it out, kind of give him a thinner hand here, like so, maybe a little bit wider than that. And I'm going to use, as we learned on our last video, we selected the faces. So that's holding down the right click over the object, go to the face, and I'm going to just slim down the end portion of my hand here. And it kind of gives it a bit more style, or just a different look than what I was first anticipating. And I'm just going to use 2 more blocks just for the end of the fingers here, and just move it, duplicate it, move it out, squash it in place like so. And there we go. I've got my hands where I'm happy with. I'm going to duplicate my fingers, bring them back towards my thumb, and I'm just going to rotate these a little bit and then squash them down, and I'll move them in place just in the right place that I want. Kind of just roughing it out here, getting it sort of in the right place there, like so. Alright. Alright guys, cool. So we've just completed our first hand. Here's a quick trick for you guys. If you have a character that is symmetrical, you can always do this trick. You can select the geometry you wish to flip to the other side. All you need to do is go to the combine tool up the top here. It looks like 2 pieces of paper inside a circle, and it's going to combine your mesh all into one group. So say I don't have it selected. If I click anywhere on the hand, it's going to select the entire hand now. Now all you need to do is duplicate the mesh, bring it across to the other hand, and scale it into the inverse axis on the inverse x axis. You can see on our right hand side here, we can also just go -1, and then all we need to do after that is freeze the transformations. This is just for geometry, and now the hand is good to go. We're ready. Alright, our last thing to do for our character is the head. He's got everything he needs. He's got hands, arms, chest, belly. He's got legs and feet and a neck. All we need to do is give him a head. So we can use anything for the head. I'm just going to use a sphere for mine, like so. Make a sphere on the ground. I'm going to pop him up. You can also use the V and the snap it to the head joint there. And I am pretty much happy with my character the way he is. So he's got his everything all done. Just to review what we did today, we've put in some spheres where the joint should be. We put in some flesh, or some cubes where the flesh should be, I should say. We got some hands, and we learned how to duplicate and inverse our hands. And we've got our head in place. So everything should be good. We've got our character. He's looking pretty happy. I'll just go ahead and change this out here. So now you can see him nice and easy. And now he's ready to go into VRchat almost. On our next video, we're going to cover how to skin our character, how to stick our flesh onto the bones, and then we're all ready to go just to pop him into VRchat. So, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you're happy with the videos, feel free to subscribe. Give me a comment, see if you like it or not. And yeah, I'll continue to try and help you guys out in the future. Cheers. I'll see you on the next one.